down here with Brunswick. This is freaking classic, bro. Oh, shit.
I said go live. Come on. There we go. All right.
Oh, wait, that's our song.
Right, everybody.
Okay. Hold on
All right.
1 second.
No me sé de cero, no te talenore.
No hablo.
Mach schnell,
All right.
mach schnell.
Hold on. There we are. Okay. All right. So let's hold on.
I'm Justin Foley.
Okay, I'm going to try to play the video here quick. I got to go over here. Where's my share screen?
I heard a beep, Brunswick. Does that mean we're on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our on.
Jesus.
Cheese and rice.
What's that? Josh Gordon? Is he with us tonight?
Ricky Williams is.
Yeah.
What about Sticky Ricky? What the hell he's doing
All right.
now?
Apparently, I can't get the video to play tonight, so we're not.
Just start it, man. Let's go.
We're just going to roll in tonight.
Let's
Welcome
do it.
everybody who is here, episode 58, Vikings Uncensored. And we have a special guest tonight, live from the Vikings Report with Drew and Ted, Mr. Drew Bunting. How you doing there, Drewster?
Hey, guys. What an honor it is for me to be on this show. I love Vikings Uncensored. I've never missed an episode, and I thank you guys for having me on here with you. I really feel privileged. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks
Drew.
for
I got
being
one
on.
thing. Drew, I got one thing to say to you though before we start here.
What's that?
You're cooler than we are. So why don't you fix your little problem and light this damn candle, huh?
He's right. I don't even know what Toonsa says. What do you say in that part?
Resume the countdown.
Resume the countdown. Let's go.
All right.
Thank you for bringing on our little intro right there, which I did not practice before the show, but we want you guys support our show so much. You know that the fans of VU need to know when I need a graphic or something for the show. I asked Lance Bruns. He doesn't care if he's at work or anything. He'll make it. He makes it right. Lance,
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for all the help you do with our show. Thank you, both.
Dude, you give me a paperclip and a rubber band, and I'll find a way to fuck it. I mean,
Are you MacGyver?
He's the VU version of MacGyver.
You see MacGyver? Right. Richard Dean Brunswick.
There you go.
What'd you guys think of that draft anyway? Did you like it?
It was interesting to say the least.
I got you guys' take. I mean, we're in the Galleron group together. Everybody should know we're in that group. We talk football a lot, but I never got your take on that day one thing with the Lions. How you guys feel about that?
Well, we'll get into that here.
I hated it.
1 second.
Oh, am I hijacking the host's topics here?
God damn it, Drew.
That's fine. That's
We
what I
get
do,
you on
bro.
and you hijack the show.
That's me. That's what I do.
I just wanted to hit a couple of the draft shockers first before we get into the Vikings thing. The two big ones, I think, was
The shockers.
Yeah, not that shocker.
Oh man, this is gonna be that's gonna be a fun hour. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah. The two big ones, Malik Willis, who some had as high as pick number 2, including Lance and I in our mock draft we had last Wednesday, ended up falling all the way to the 3rd round.
What happened there, guys?
I don't know.
That was crazy.
I don't know if he got caught in the back room porking Goodell's wife or while wearing the Larry Tunsil mask. Or what happened?
I haven't seen Goodell's wife on a scale of 1 to 10. What is she? 8? 7?
I have no clue.
Oh.
I don't even know what she looks like.
Never seen her, so I don't know.
Brunswick, man. Oh, he felt. I mean, Ritter went before him, and nobody thought Ritter was going to go before Malik Willis. Man, that was a long drop for that guy. People were talking about him as going number 2 overall, weren't they?
Yeah. I mean, there were several people who thought that could happen. Including our buddy Tyler Fornes. I thought he very well could have as well.
I think everybody was as surprised as everybody, that thought Malik was going to go high. Is Malik Willis's chip on his shoulder was already big? It has got 10 times huger now.
Yeah, I'm just wondering at this point, if you fall that far, it's a collective team GM decision. It's not just one, because one team didn't take a chance on him. So collectively, there's something they don't like. I don't know whether it's the Liberty thing, the competition he played. He played at Liberty, but physically, if you watch him throw and you watch him run around, he looks like a very gifted athlete. I'm pretty shocked that he fell that far.
He's a project, I believe.
Yeah,
he's got the ceiling. The ceiling is high. Obviously, high as hell. But just fell. He might be too much of a project for somebody to take on at this moment. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get started, we might want to give a shout out to the guy that provided these hats to us.
Absolutely. I haven't seen Reggie in the live chat yet, but thank you again, the barbecue pitmaster himself, Reggie Adams Jr., for providing both Vikings Uncensored and the Vikings Report with these awesome draft hats.
Thank you, Reggie.
My new favorite hat for sure. These are slick.
They are
really slick.
They are slick. Very slick. I'd wear this if I went clubbing. I'd be wearing this. Imagine Drew at the nightclub. Wow.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That'd be scary.
Then the other draft shocker, I guess, was Nakobe Dean falling as far as he did.
Dude, what the hell is going on with that? I know he had the injury, the torn pec or something, but he's gonna heal.
We're gonna take him right here. We're gonna take him right here. Oh shit, yeah. We didn't take him.
That was that was.
We're gonna take him right here.
Right here.
He's not coming. He's not coming.
Again. All right, next team's gonna take. Got to go here.
Yep.
But that was the thing. I started watching the Twitterverse when he was falling so far, and I guess that injury, he was supposed to have had surgery on it, and he didn't. So I think that scared away a lot of teams until because he was ranked a first round talent. But
the Eagles just killed it. Looks like.
Mm-hmm.
They had a good draft.
The team that really killed it, as far as I'm concerned, the Jets. Yeah,
Jets did.
Day one winners, man. That they went and they got every blue chip player in the first round. No, but seriously, they had an amazing first round, in my opinion.
If they get to the playoffs and start making damaging runs, they're going to look back to this draft as being the catalyst that shot them up the charts. If all those players work out the way they're supposed to work out, man, the Jets got a whole hell of a lot better.
If they could get their shit together, they got a good team there.
Yeah, but Lance, look at what you just said. That's a Jets, bro.
Exactly.
We're the Jets. We're the Vikings together. Jets haven't had their shit together since I was 14.
Hey, I want you guys' take on Mariano.
Mary who?
Marinero.
Oh, Ed Marinero.
What the hell was that about?
He was drunk off his ass when he walked on stage.
Was that some Namath shit going on there?
Here's what should have happened if I was running the draft. I told Ted, this is what they should have done. The next day, when the Vikings pick came along, they should have walked Marinero back out there to the microphone and have him walk up to the podium and say, "Now, where was I?"
That would have been hilarious.
That's what I would have done if I was running the draft. That would have brought the house down.
I mean, NFL Network was making fun of him on day 3 from that, so he, kind of made an ass out of himself. We'll put it that way.
I had the volume down, guys. What was he talking about? My volume was down because of the show. We were doing the live thing. We didn't want to.
He just started an incoherent rambling, saying that he didn't want to be picked by the Vikings, and the only team he wanted to be picked less by was Green Bay, and just basically like he just stumbled himself out of the bar because I said, "Mr. Marinero, you got to be on stage in 2 minutes." He's like, "Hi, fine, I'll be right up there."
What Reggie, a disaster, bro.
Reggie just joined the chat again. Reggie, thank you for the hats supplied to Vikings Uncensored and Vikings Report.
Thanks, Reggie.
But anyway, we'll try to pull it back on the road here. We'll get into the.
I had to touch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It had to be touched.
I had to poke that one with the stick a little bit. Just to get your guys' take on that. Yeah.
Poke the stick. Poke the bear, man. That's what you're here for.
All right. So we will roll into the Vikings draft recap now. Of course, when pick 12 rolled around, we had players such as Kyle Hamilton on the board, Jameson Williams on the board.
Yeah.
Jermaine Johnson on the board.
He sure was there, wasn't he?
And we decided it was better to trade back to pick 32 with Detroit to get safety Lewis Seen out of Georgia. What do you guys think on that there, Drewster?
I love the player. We ended up getting. I didn't like that deal because I thought the compensation sucked. And I know everybody talks about, well, look at the draft simulator count board or whatever the hell those things are. What are they? The draft software that tells you if it's good or bad? Fuck all that. If you're going to let somebody move up on you, you got to pay a convenience charge. If they're going to move up 32 to 12, you say, you owe us this, and then you're going to throw something else on top of it, like a first rounder next year or something.
Especially when it's a division rival.
You demand that.
You demand it.
Yes.
There's got to be something more than what these dumb charts say. There's a convenience charge in my book. You really want to move up.
The Vikings, we always get effed in our ace whenever it comes to deals in the draft.
Right.
Every time. I can't tell you the last time we got a good deal. The Jared Allen deal where you traded the first rounder for Jared Allen, that was a good deal.
But I was sitting there waiting. We're going to fleece them. This is our chance to bust somebody's nuts.
Exactly.
Right.
And then we go and trade with the Detroit Lions.
Instead, Dan Campbell walks in and bites off Kwesi's kneecap.
Why would you give up number 46? That was really irritating.
If we would have kept 46 in that deal, I'd have been perfectly fine with it.
I think so, too.
I would have been fine if we would have got next year's second rounder, honestly.
Either a second. Well. Right, Brunswick. Either a second rounder this year, or the 46 this year, or a second rounder next year. Either of those things would have sat better with me.
They're like, well, we're Detroit, so you know that's going to be a top 5 pick, regardless. No. So we're not giving it to you.
And then I heard the excuse this afternoon that, I don't know if it was Kwesi that said it or whatever, basically, well, if we didn't take that deal, the next team behind us was going to take that deal and they were going to get the player they wanted anyway.
Well, I don't think they made him pay enough. I mean,
I absolutely don't.
Guys, you go to the carnival, you get those big-ass, gristly-ass turkey legs. Those big-ass turkey. I love the turkey legs at the carnival. They're all full of fat and gristle, and I love them.
Right.
Those weird, long fish scale things on them. I love it. You walk it up there, and you get the last turkey leg, and the guy behind you says, hey, what'd you pay for it? $8. I'll give you $8 for it. What are you saying? No, you're not. You're going to give me $30 for it.
Right.
Convenience. It's the last turkey leg, and unless you kick me $30, I'm eating it.
Especially if you don't like the person.
Very true.
No, make them pay extra to move up that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's 32 to 12, guys.
You want to be my friend and pay me some money.
You gotta ass, grass, or cash. Nobody rides for free. You gotta kick it down somewhere. They're going from 32 to 12, Lance, not 32 to 20. 32 to 12.
I know. That's ridiculous. And you know what? And then go ahead, Rhino.
I said we were talking about before the draft of the Chiefs giving 29 and 30 to move up to 12.
It's so
and basically with the Detroit, we dropped 20 spots and swapped second rounders and got a third back in return, basically.
Yeah, that. Detroit must have been stoked on that.
We just gave division rivals both offensive skill playmakers that have the capability of running roughshod on us for the next 7 years.
Well, if you're a Detroit fan, you also got to add, you're going to move up that far for a wide receiver?
Yeah. And you still have Jared Goff as your quarterback.
That's that's a really good point. That's a really good point. I thought when the trade was announced, I told Chris Gates, because he was kind of tracking it, I go, they got to be, is that Glove Man?
Oh,
is he here? Is he here?
Oh my God! We just went. Vikings Uncensored just got X-rated. Where's Ted Glover? Get him in here.
We'll wait a second for his screen to pop up since he's kind enough to join us here.
Man, he's taking a time out of his busy ass.
Like a teaser trailer going on right now.
Yeah, I mean,
but what I was saying, I don't think they played it. I don't think they played it right. But we weren't going to let it ruin our whole draft. We're going to move on. But if Jameson.
At the end of the night, at least we picked a good player.
No, player-wise,
yeah.
I like Seen to end up better than Kyle Hamilton as a player.
I like that take. I like that take. I don't like the take where I've also heard, Hamilton didn't fit our scheme.
Oh, he fits.
What the hell is that? What is that? I hate that.
That's a Rick Spielman excuse.
It totally is.
Will Hernandez. What was that guy's name?
Yeah.
Yep.
Kyle Hamilton fills any scheme, guys.
Right.
Exactly.
Ted, are you with us? We still see a blank screen.
Ted.
The blank screen you're seeing right now should be Mr. Ted Glover, but he is apparently having a little difficulty getting on. But
I do love the safety. You can play him anywhere. You can play him on the edge as a rusher. You can play that guy in the box as a deep safety. Let me make it really clear and simple. You got a guy that hits like he does. He's one of the best hitters in the draft. A guy that hits like that can run a 4.3. You get that guy in your team. He and Booth are hitters. They're big hitters.
Donato got himself some nice toys in that draft.
Asamoah too. They all tackle. They're all aggressive. They're all confident, and they're all not scared.
Yes.
And that's the one pattern I noticed coming across. But they talked to a bunch of the other Georgia guys that got drafted. Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean,
man, Devontae 5 went in the first round. 5.
Right. They asked all those guys, who would you like to see as a teammate move up with you from the Bulldogs to the NFL? And all of them said one guy, Lewis Cine.
Mm-hmm.
That's that impressed me.
Yeah, that impressed me. It sounded like one guy said Jordan Davis, and they all said the same guy. So that means he's a leader. He's a leader on that defense. And trade aside, we got a hell of a player who's going to start week 1. Nothing against Cameron Bynum, but he's no Lewis Cine, I don't think.
No, but you know what? I look for us to run a lot more 3 safety sets next year. A lot more teams in the league are starting to do that. Kansas City being one example.
Right.
You see them with Mathau they had been doing that with Mathau for a long time, along with the other 2 safeties there in Kansas City.
Walter Mathau.
What?
Not
Walter
Mathau.
Walter Mathau in Kansas City, yeah.
Buttermaker? Boilermaker? What's his name?
Jack Lemon and Walter Mathau, they had a couple, yeah.
No, he was the coach of the Bad News Bears, Buttermaker.
Yeah.
With Tanner Boyle at shortstop. No, I hear what you're saying, Lance. Like they're running some 3-3-5 or something. They're going to run some.
I look for Bynum to take on like a J-Ron Curse role, but
right?
hopefully he could take it and elevate that from what J-Ron Curse did,
Bynum had a great season for the time he got to see the field.
Yeah, and that's one thing I did notice about a lot of these players that we took. They have position flexibility that they, the DBs can play up in the box. They can maybe play a little bit of corner in a nickel. They can even hop up to linebacker, some of them kind of a thing, so that seemed to be a recurring theme on all these guys that we picked was position flexibility type thing.
Position flexibility and physicality are the 2 things that ran rampant throughout this draft for the Vikings. At least that's my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
They got guys who are. There's no Fred Smoots. I don't want to tackle anybody. No, that's going on. They want guys who can tackle, guys who can play, and talk about flexibility. That Booth, man. I watched tape on that guy. He's in the slot. He's on the outside playing corner. He's doing he's playing linebacker. He's doing everything. Man.
I'll show you some flexibility, guys. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. You
all right, Brunswick, put down the pipe and let's keep going here.
That's
anyway, since you brought up Booth, we'll move on to
automobile.
Lake, big lake. Whoosh.
What was his name? Donger? Was it
Long Duck Dong?
Long Duck Dong.
Long Duck Dong. That's right.
Yep.
Oh, party animal.
Anyway, so moving on to round 2, we had the 34th overall pick, which we got from Detroit.
Hey, send Ted a link. Send him a link. Send him a different link.
Hold on.
Didn't mean to cut you off, but send him a link. Maybe the
put
link.
These guys on under.
Well, he's got. I told him to log out and log back in again already. So.
Tell him if he's missing the Brunswick flexibility show, then he's missing some shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I should have worn my Vikings onesie tonight.
Oh, no, you shouldn't have. No, we don't. Nobody needs to see that. But anyway, at pick 34.
Yeah.
If we thought trading with Detroit was bad, we traded with that team from Wisconsin.
How do you feel about that trade now?
Christian Watson is fucking dead to me now.
He's your boy, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I would have been happy with us taking him there, and I thought maybe we would have, but
you're the guy that asked about the scouting report on Christian Watson. Not that I care that he's a Packer now, but give me a little 30-second rundown on that guy. Yeah. I was really unfamiliar with it. I didn't do a draft write-up on him.
I mean, the comps to Adebo Samuel are valid.
Yeah.
We ran him a lot out of the backfield, jet sweeps and that kind of stuff, getting him out in space and just get the ball in his hands.
And
the guy
can
a lot
fly. Of those jet sweeps as well.
He did. I mean, the guy's fast. I mean, we saw the combine numbers and everything on him.
He is tall and fast.
Yeah, he's 6'5". So
he's a big guy then.
Didn't get to show the pass catching numbers and stuff just because NDSU is a power run team and we ran the ball 47 times a game kind of thing. But I was not happy at all to see them take him, which the minute they traded up, that's who I knew they were taking.
You know what? That was a great pick by Green Bay. And I will hand that right to him. And I will tip my hat to him. In my opinion, that was an amazing pick. I believe, and I hate to say it, but barring, health, they got a hell of a good player in Christian Watson there in Green Bay.
They got another wideout later, the Dubs or something, didn't they? They ended up
Romeo Dobbs, yeah.
That's not good. Well, I hope Watson doesn't do well when he plays against us.
Yeah, I hope Watson falls flat on his face now because
what did we get for that deal? We got
pick 53 and pick 59.
And 53 we got out of again.
Yeah.
It's starting to feel like Spielman there for a while, Brunswick.
Worse. It's worse.
Trade back.
At least it wasn't like 7th rounders we were getting, like late round picks that we were accumulating. So, I mean, we were accumulating mid-round picks. And a lot of the times, honestly, that second to third, the beginning of the 4th round, that's the sweet spot of the draft right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where the honey is.
The first 3 guys we took are starters in my book.
I would think. I mean, Booth is going to compete with Peterson and Dancer, just to see who starts there. But that was pick 53. We actually traded 53, 77, and 192 to the Colts for 42 and 122.
Let me tell you guys something. If Andrew Booth just doesn't beat out Dantzler, he was a bad pick. Because come on, he's got to be better than Dantzler right out of the gate. He's got to start week 1, or he wasn't the right guy.
Granted, Dantzler has his moments, but he's too up and down.
He's nowhere near Booth. If he starts week 1 over, it wouldn't be a concern to me for Andrew Booth if he starts.
Right. Booth has got that body. I mean, that physique is a lot. He's built more for this game, honestly, than Dantzler is.
He plays everywhere. He plays all over the field. And he's got 31 and a half inch arms. We don't have to worry about, he's got small arms.
He's not T-Rex.
He got small arms. McDuffie's going to end up working at Togo's because his arms are this short.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I noticed about Booth was the length of his arms and his wingspan, honestly. Yes.
Ball skills is what I first noticed. The pursuit, the ball skills, and being able to high point, knock away the ball, and even high point intercept the ball. He's got what they used to call it, the kids call it now, ludicrous vert. He's got ludicrous vert. He's got some vertical jump there, Lance.
Yeah.
Plus, he's high energy. Big energy guy. High energy, good teammate.
Yeah.
The only downside I see with Booth is that he's dealt with injuries most of his college career. So we got that little bit of a flag. I mean, he actually said himself he hasn't been fully healthy since high school.
That's oof.
And he could probably work on his tackling a little bit. I'm not going to rip him. He's not a bad tackler, but he could get better.
Right. But I mean, I
love the pick though.
I do too. I mean, we went up to get him, and that's
after. Hey, let me ask you guys. After Stingley and Sauce, there was kind of a cluster of cornerbacks right there. Who did you have as your third guy? Because I had Booth as my number 3.
Yeah, between Booth and McDuffie, it was like 3 and 3A. I didn't know really which way to go.
Honestly,
on it,
I would have had Booth maybe ahead of Stingley, in my opinion, just because Stingley regressed over the last 2 years of his college career and battled through injuries as well. So
that's a hot take right there. That's a good take. I hope he ends up being better than Stingley.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's going to, but I had him retire for sure. Yeah.
I respect your opinion, Lance, more than a lot of people I talk to. I watch this show. I love all your takes. I love all. Remember, where are they now? You guys stop doing that. I love that segment. I hope you bring it back one day. But when it comes to football, when you're talking, I listen. Now, when you're flexing and dancing on screen, I look the other way.
Then we're going to block out his screen.
There we go. But in terms of football, I'm all ears when you're talking, brother.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on to probably the most controversial pick of the draft here.
Vikings did something controversial. You kidding?
Yeah. At pick 59, we took Ed Ingram, the guard out of LSU.
I love that pick.
Now, as a player, I mean, the guy was a hell of one of the top guards in the SEC. And like you said on Gallagher Group earlier today, it's not like he was out of the MEAC or one of those Conference USAs or something like that. It was a freaking SEC. So, I mean, that says something. No, he comes with the I see the word, Ted. No. Mr. Glover, welcome to the show, brother.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We got you.
Oh, we got you.
All right, I'm on my phone. Sorry, my computer's acting up. How you guys doing?
Great.
Doing awesome. We're doing better now that you're here.
Yeah, Ted Glover.
Well, God help you all if that's the case.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Ted Glover is here from his hotel room in New Jersey.
We now officially have the first Vikings Uncensored Vikings Report complete collaboration.
That's frightening.
I'll tell you what, boys. I woke up this morning, got myself a gun.
There you go. Tony
Oh, man.
Soprano himself.
Ted Glover's here.
Ted, you jumped in on a great time. We were just starting to talk about Ed Ingram. So why don't you give us your thoughts on the guy?
So, okay, here's the deal. Those are some really serious allegations. The charges were dropped. He was not prosecuted for them. I get it. Should Ed Ingram be eligible to play in the NFL and pursue his NFL career? Yes. Do I wish it was with another team? Also, yes. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay. And I will add to this. I respect the best host in the business, Mr. Ted Glover, but I would have to track from the moment whatever happened to him at 15, what has happened since this incident happened, what has happened up till now? Has it been a pattern? Has other shit been happening? Because if it hasn't, then I got to give him the benefit of the doubt on turning the page. And I'm not quelling the seriousness of the offense. I'm not. It was ridiculous, and he needs to be held accountable for what he's doing. But the only way to tell if somebody's turned over a new leaf or they're turning a page is if a long period of time goes by and they keep their nose clean. Has he? I don't know the details on it, everything. Apparently, he hasn't gotten any more trouble. So there's something that's got to be said for, hey, I fucked up. Let me try to better myself.
I'm going to say, I always believe a person can change. You put him with good people around him and in a good environment, teach the guy how to be a good person, be a good player. And I think right now this team has those type of players that are good character type of people in general. So I see nothing but positive things for him when he gets here. Honestly, this is a great opportunity for him to come to Minnesota and really show what he has. If he was to go to a number of other big city teams, it might be worrisome more to me, in my opinion.
That's fair.
You put him in the right environment.
Yeah.
What would you guys all be saying if Ed Ingram had been drafted by Chicago, Detroit, or Green Bay?
Oh, he's an a-hole.
No, I share your concern on that, Ted, especially being the father of being a girl dad. It doesn't really set well with me, but I mean, everybody in life deserves a second chance. And I don't know all I can hope is that the team did their due diligence on this, which it sounds like they have. and came to the conclusion that it's not something that's going to be an ongoing problem. And if it is, it's going to blow up in our face.
Well, has it been an ongoing problem since it happened? I mean, somebody clue me in. I don't know the details.
Not that I've seen.
Well, not that I know. That's just something that has gotten dug up and brought to the spotlight.
If it happens, and then 2 months from that, when it happened, then he's caught dry humping some lady at a salad bar at Wendy's, that's a problem if he keeps doing things. But yeah, I went dry hump on your show, guys. Hope that's okay.
I didn't know Wendy's had a salad bar.
I don't know. I didn't. I'm gonna go out. I didn't do anything like that when I was 15, but I did some weird stuff that let's not even go down that direction. I think if he keeps his nose clean and playing, he hasn't gotten in trouble since. There's something to be said for a pattern of good behavior.
15, you're still a kid and you're still learning. And sometimes when you're in the wrong environment, you make bad decisions.
Yeah.
At 15, guys, did you know to not stick your finger up a girl's, did you know better or not to violate a girl?
I do better.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was raised in a household where that was not.
Let's put it this way. If I would have done something like that at 15, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now because I'd have been dead at 15 in a day. That's
why I'm a bass player and not a drummer. Leave that up to the drummers.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I share your concerns on that, Ted. And it was concerning when they made the pick. And when I found out about it, I need to do a little bit more research myself on it to make myself feel a little bit better about it. But
yeah, well,
it is what it is. And we have to move forward regardless either way. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's a positive thing.
All right. So speaking of moving forward, we'll go on to our next pick.
Yeah.
At pick 66, we got probably one of my favorite linebackers in the draft, not named Nakobe Dean, Brian Asamoah, linebacker out of Oklahoma.
Great pick.
My favorite linebacker.
Ted, since you're late to the game here, why don't you give us your synopsis on Mr. Asamoah?
Love the pick. We were on our live show, I think, and I just casually mentioned his name. Hey, what do you think about Brian Asamoah? And Drew said, "Hey, that's a pretty good idea. Might be kind of, I can't remember exactly what it was that Drew said, but then lo and behold, hey, I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder because I actually, first time I got anything right about draft since we've been doing our show."
Smitty called that one. He called it.
Fantastic.
I mean, the thing about Asamoah I like is that he's, and it seems to be kind of a trait with the defensive guys the Vikings drafted. I don't know if you guys have already talked about it, but they're all athletic. They're all big hitters. And they're all fast. These guys are all fast dudes, man.
Right.
And Asamoah, I think, moving laterally, he can cut off. He can cut off the edge. He likes to tackle. He likes contact. I don't know what there isn't to like about this dude. Mm-hmm. I think he got dropped down. Drew can correct me if I'm wrong. He's not like your big prototypical size for an NFL linebacker, but
right.
He's a good football player. And I think when you got Eric Kendricks and the guy they signed from Arizona, Jordan Hicks and Asamoah, man, how can you not like what this defense could potentially look like in 2022 and beyond?
Mm-hmm. How about you, Drew?
Yeah, just watch him on tape. Put on the tape of Brian Asamoah and watch any kind of draft tape you can find. You're going to see a lot of what Ted says, the sideline to sideline. That's kind of what I look for in a linebacker. When I watch linebackers, I like Luke Kuechly. There's a read, and then there's a pause and a react with most guys. Kuechly read the thing and then reacted. There was no pause, and that's what Asamoah does. He reads it and he reacts. Read and react, kind of like a hockey reaction. That's what I like about the guy. When he got to Oklahoma, they put him in at middle linebacker, and he had to fill the shoes of the great Kenneth Murray, who played there. And that is a tough haul, going and playing middle linebacker at Oklahoma. And he really struggled filling in for Kenneth Murray. But another thing you got to like about him is that he's getting better. He got better every year. He got better when he struggled. He got better the next year. Got better the next year. You like those players that progress and get better, that don't just stay at the same level and struggle.
Yes,
that means
absolutely.
you can coach the guy. That means he's coachable. If he's getting better, he's listening and he's making himself better. Tremendous athlete, another violent tackler, just like Scene. He's going to knock the shit out of you if he gets an opportunity to. You can play him at nickel corner. You can play him, nickel linebacker anywhere, and you can align him all over the field. And I love, like I said, I did my draft write-ups on all the linebackers, and I knew we weren't going to get the early guys, Christian Harris and those guys, but me and Ted talked about it on Vikings Report. If we could take a linebacker somewhere mid-round, what would we take? And we liked this guy, both of us. So
that was kind of my thought too. I liked what I saw in the tape, and I didn't figure we were going linebacker the first couple rounds either. And Asamoah was one that jumped out to me that, would be available about where we picked him. And I like the pick personally, for everything that you guys said about him.
It was a good pick. And if he got his hands on you, you were going down. So that's all you can really ask out of a linebacker. I like the pick. Could be one of the best picks we made, honestly.
Yeah.
I just gonna have to fight through some people to see the field, but if anything, you got a solid special teamer right out of the gate, right, guys?
Well, and it's, we've talked about this earlier that, how long is Eric Kendricks going to be on this team? Asamoah may be the heir apparent to Kendricks when we get going here. So
it's a great point.
Right.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next one here. We traded with the Browns. We got pick 118. They got 126 and a 2023 fourth rounder. And we took cornerback Caleb Evans out of Missouri.
I don't know anything about that guy.
Tall. He's tall.
Yeah, basically on the write-up, I looked at him, 6'2", 197. Speedy, got good hands. He's probably the least physical of the guys that we picked this weekend. And he is another one that's got some injury and durability issues. So that's a little bit of a flag. But this is the guy that Kwesi said he spent several hours sitting in a dark room watching tape on and everything else. And this was one guy that jumped out to him as somebody that we needed to get on this team.
So are we talking porn or snuff film?
You know what?
I honestly don't know, Ted. I didn't ask that question.
Hey, Ted, if I'm sitting in a dark room by myself and I'm watching tape, it's certainly not going to be of a Caleb Evans. Let me tell you that. I know more about Florida Evans than I do about a Caleb Evans.
Mike Evans.
Remember Florida Evans from Good Times, Florida? Come on, guys. Good Times. You know what?
Rubens?
Yeah, I know Good Times. I didn't watch a whole lot of it because it was on prior to my time a little bit, but
you're a commie. Dynamite! Come on, Lance.
I know all that.
I
just haven't watched a lot of the episodes. I've seen a few random ones here and there, kind of a thing. But
have you guys done any study work on this Evans guy? Is he any good? We doubled up at corner. I like that. More corner help,
I watched a little tape on him this afternoon when I was doing show prep. The highlight reels and stuff looked pretty good. Again, I didn't get a real deep into him to watch anything, watch full game tape other than just highlights. I mean, highlight tapes made Christian Ponder look good, but I don't, he's going to be we needed depth at cornerback.
Sure.
And he's going to provide that. He's got the potential, if he can stay healthy and learn a little bit, to be a decent, nickel or dime cornerback, possibly. It all depends on how he progresses, I guess, from what I saw.
Sounds like the Vikings really liked him.
Yeah, seems to be the consensus out of because I watched like some of Kwesi and O'Connell's press conferences and stuff this afternoon too. So,
what they have to say with the pressers there, Rhino? Oh, we love our class.
Yeah,
we really love every candidate. These guys are just great. They're going to be great players for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Even the 7th round dude, who I don't even know who they got.
Well,
he's going to be a Hall of Famer one day.
One thing I did. Funny you mentioned that, Ted, because when the Vikings put out the calls to the players, all ones that were drafted, and our next guy that we're going to come up to here, after we did a couple of trades forward and backwards with the Raiders. We got defensive end Essie Adamayo, or however you say it, needs some mayo, or The big O is
Need some mayo.
The big O, as Drew called him when we were talking beforehand.
If you run into a weird name, just call the big M, the big O, the big R. Just use that and you're fine. The big O.
One thing.
Odamowe. That's it.
Kevin O'Connell said when he was talking to the big O on the phone when they drafted him is that, we saw you make some splash plays. Your job when you get here is to turn those splash plays into consistent play. So that's one big thing, and I thought that was kind of interesting when, talking to the guy on the phone after you draft him saying, we like a few things that you see, but you're going to have to come in here and work on some stuff. So I kind of like that kind of honesty on it, but
is he better than Janarius Robinson and that other guy, Patrick Jones? Do you think?
No, I don't think so.
I think it's just yet to be seen. I think this is going to be a huge training camp for this team. Honestly, I think O'Connell looked at this roster and he's seen the offensive part of the roster. He says, you know what? I think I can work with this. Let's figure out this defense and let's get it fixed and let's move forward.
And what it looks like, Adamayo went out as an edge rusher or defensive end. From everything I've been talking on Twitter with some people, Arif Hassan thinks he's probably going to move into like a 5-tech. Be the defensive end, defensive tackle type player, more inside stuff. So probably not somebody that's going to put up some big flashy numbers but he's a developmental player that if he can get to the point where his splash plays are more commonplace, we might have something there, but.
Plus he's a golden gopher. Oh, you got to give him a roster spot.
Oh, absolutely.
Golden gopher, Ted. You got to give him a roster spot.
Falco said, rock me out of Mayo. I'm a Miracle Whip man myself, but whatever.
Yeah, you got to have that zip in there for sure.
We had a question. We had a question pop up here in the live chat from our buddy GMAC. He says, "Do you guys think a lot of this draft was redundant to what last year's draft was?"
I think you can pretty much match this draft with last year's draft and move forward because we didn't get to see very much of last year's draft either.
Well, the thing about this draft is I think we covered every position except quarterback and defensive tackle. Is that right? Yeah, every other position got taken.
Yeah.
And we got a defensive tackle in the undrafted free agents, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But
so it's we covered it positionally speaking. I would say they got an A+. I mean, we don't know how these players are going to turn out, but
nobody does.
You know what? Between Quiet Wyatt Davis and Kellen Mond, I'm not throwing my hand up there and rooting or tooting for any goddamn draft from last year. I'm not.
No, I'm not. If some of those guys turn out, all the better. If they don't, like I said, this regime has no emotional attachment to anybody who's on the roster right now, other than maybe Kirk Cousins. But
here's my thing, though. How many times in the past 3 or 4 years have we gotten our draft grades, which I think are completely idiotic, to give one day after a draft? And everybody praises Rick Spielman. Oh, the Vikings answered. God, they got their guys and they did what they needed to do. And you look 2 or 3 years down the road and the draft class kind of sucks. I mean, look, let's face it. Spielman's last real good draft class was 2015, other than a player here or a player there.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Rick Spielman, did you guys hear what he graded us?
He gave us a B-, I think.
I don't even care. I don't care
because why would we care what the guy who we fired because he did a horseshit job has to say about what the new guy did?
So like my thing is let's just I've seen pundits going anywhere from B to F or whatever the hell it is they want to give. Why don't we just wait and see? Because this is a completely different approach to drafting. I mean, teams generally don't trade within the division. They generally don't get guys that are, I don't want to say reaches or whatever, but depending on who you listen to, some of these guys were taken a round or two too early. But 3 or 4 years from now, this could turn out to be a pretty good class. I think you have to kind of let it play out and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you have to wait at least 2 years before you can properly draft or grade a draft class, in my opinion.
That is correct. And really, to me, the only thing you can grade right now is positions.
Mm-hmm.
how did they help your team positionally? Player wise, you can't. Rhino's right. 2 to 3 seasons minimum before you can grade their play. But the only thing you can really look at now is how did we help ourselves positionally on the roster, Ted? That's really the only thing you can grade out. And they covered the position.
Yeah, I don't think you can complain about the positions that these players were drafted at. I mean, they got safety, corner, the and linebacker, and the guys they got just seem like pretty good football players. And for whatever reason, these last 2 or 3 draft classes under Spielman and Zimmer never developed. I mean, for all the praise they got on draft day, it was kind of a big wet fart. 2 years later, let's give this coaching staff a chance to develop these guys and see what they can turn these guys into.
And that's the big thing. I think the last, especially last year and to an extent, 2020 as well, Zimmer seemed like he was getting to the point where he didn't want to waste time developing people.
Right.
I think he kind of saw the writing was on the wall that maybe his ass was getting a little bit warm in the chair. So he just wanted plug and play guys, the older veterans and that kind of stuff.
You know what Spielman played off of? This is really what he played off of, what Rick Spielman did. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that schmuck, but like Ted said, everybody's going ape shit. Oh, look at we got 14 draft picks. So everybody's praising him 2 days after the draft. 9 months later, 99% of the fans, casual fans, don't even keep track of any of that shit. Any of those late round guys who bombed out, any of those late round guys who go to hell. Everybody's forgotten about that, but they all remember 2 days after the draft. Oh, Rick, look what he did. Look at all these picks he got. But nobody tracks it. If you track it, he'd have been fired 6 years ago. They don't keep track. Look at it. Talk to me at the end of next season about the draft right now. Talk to me 2 days afterwards. And Spielman knew it, and he laughed about it and said, I may have picked a bunch of bums, but nobody will notice in 8 months. Nobody's talking Treadwell in 8 months. Nobody.
For all the steals Rick Spielman had, how many of them were still on the roster a year later?
Not a lot.
I mean, Diggs, maybe?
Well, yeah, we got 14 picks.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with Rick Spielman. I think deep down, he had so little confidence in his ability to find good players that it was just the shotgun approach. Let's, blast a hole in it there and hopefully a couple of them pan out. And then, I look like a genius for finding a diamond in the rough in the 7th round or an undrafted free agent kind of thing.
Throw spaghetti against the wall, see if it sticks.
Rick Spielman. Ted, didn't he take all his Viking stuff and sell it at the flea market? I mean, who cares what
he
Rick
did
Spielman?
At the Goodwill and whatever.
Took it down to the boys' ranch.
Yeah, he did.
Fuck Rick Spielman.
Anyway, let's.
Sorry, I don't mean to curse on your all show. I know you guys don't have,
because we never do that kind of shit.
You got a big, especially Lance Brunswick. He's got a big F-bomb rule. He doesn't.
His churchy ears are not akin to hearing that kind of language. But anyway, move on to the next player at pick 169. We took running back Ty Chandler out of the University of North Carolina.
Fast speed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing. Burner.
Yep. Good receiver. He's got return ability. One knock on him I did see is he's another one that's kind of a little bit slow to process at the line. Kind of the same thing that bites Wang Chung a little bit. So, I mean, I don't mind the pick. I like the production out of this kid. And it's a very good bet that Alexander Madison probably won't be on the team next year because he's going into the final year of his contract. So,
get rid of Ham too. I'm about CJ Hammed out. Nothing personal. I know he's a fan favorite. We got to move on.
He's one of us, Drew. He's one of us. You can't get rid of one of us.
Get rid of him. Ted, CJ Ham. What do you think?
I'm just wondering if you get rid of CJ Ham, you don't have a deep threat anymore.
Don't do that when I'm taking a drink. There
are tactical decisions and there are strategic decisions. Releasing CJ Ham is a strategic decision, and if you don't have a deep threat answer, don't even come to me. Don't even come to me with Don't even come to me with that problem unless you've got a solution, pal.
It's third and 14. Third and 14. Cousins drops back. Got a pass rush. Got a blitz off the left. He throws it out to Ham in the flat and tackled
for 2-yard loss.
Oh man.
But yeah, so Chandler, we'll see how that goes. The next guy here, I kind of like what I see out of this guy.
Go ahead.
Ryan,
one quick thing about Chandler. And you mentioned Madison. Don't forget, Dalvin's got a big cap hit coming next year, and that's going to be a prohibitive number. I'd have to look it up, but they might look to either restructure that or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about Madison. That's a very good point. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. There's a decent chance Dalvin Cook might not be around after this coming season too. So you had better hope Kene Wangwu and whoever can pick up that slack, and Taylor may be the guy they're looking at to potentially do that.
That's a good point.
I know. Great point. Yeah, because Cook's cap hit this year was prohibitive from getting rid of him, but I think next year it becomes a little more palatable to get rid of.
I could see Cook going as well, for sure. Yeah. A good running back is.
We talked about this. We talked about this a year ago. About giving running backs big second contracts, but when the past regime was here, it was run the ball at all costs.
Is Chandler a workhorse guy though, or is he a change of pace back, third down guy? I mean, I don't know. I got to learn more about him. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think one of the undrafted guys seems to be a little bit, maybe more that, and we'll talk about him again too in a little bit. But anyway, next pick we took was offensive tackle Vidarian Lowe out of Illinois, 6'5", 314 pounds. Big athletic guy. He's apparently real high character. He's a good leader in the locker room. Projects probably to be the Rashad Hill replacement, backup swing tackle kind of guy. I mean, Rashad Hill's still out there, I think. I don't think anybody signed him. We could always
hearing a lot of weird noises on this telecast.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have something that didn't agree with you for supper, Ted, or what's going on?
No, I had a couple of Yingling beers that went down pretty smooth.
Oh, sure.
Hey, what was the beer? Wingling? What?
Yingling.
You go out east to get the damn Yingling. I love that beer, and I can't get it up here.
That's what she said.
There's a lot.
Sorry.
There's a lot of stuff you can't get in Rhino's backyard.
I live in fucking North Dakota. There's not a lot of anything.
No, North Dakota. Where does the guy go to get his candle waxed in North Dakota?
Outside.
Idaho.
That's like a buddy of mine that I used to work with, and we go out snowmobiling out in Idaho, and the trip was always we're going Idaho or you to pimp Idaho.
There you go. There you go. That's Vidarian Lowe all over again.
But yeah, as far as Lowe goes, don't know a lot about him. Didn't get a chance to watch much tape on him.
Well, we don't have a lot of tackles that are worth a damn, do we?
No, we have our two starters, and then the other one's Oli Udoh. So,
we went into last year thinking Rashad Hill could be a starting caliber left tackle. So
no, that was you after you had way too many tune-ups before the show started.
Is that what we call them? Is that what we call bong rips? Tune-ups?
Yeah.
Well, if Lowe can get to a Rashad Hill replacement level, I'm fine. I mean, Rashad Hill's a decent backup tackle. He's a guy that you can put him in and play 3-4 games a year, either left tackle or right tackle. He's not ever gonna be an all-pro, but he's not gonna be an unmitigated disaster like TJ Clemmings was either. So if Lowe can get to a Rashad Hill level, hey, that's great value for that round and that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I will add this on top. I may sound like a homer, but you know what? I'd rather go with a tackle from a Big Ten school than another conference. Tackles from Big Ten schools seem to work out.
Yeah,
that's true.
You're not wrong.
Except for Robert Gallery.
All right.
No, seriously. I mean, I'm thinking
right. No, you're right. Because I mean, most of them, you think of the Iowas and Minnesotas and stuff, you got them corn-fed farm boys that are out there that are big, tough, throwing cows around for a living when they're growing up kind of thing, and
I don't know what you were doing and throwing the cows around. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I wouldn't
leave my mom out of this.
That's what she said.
We are horrible.
Yeah, well.
I'm having a great time. What a great show. We're having a great time, aren't we?
Glad you guys could join us. This is fun.
Yeah, it is. It is. Who's
Anyway,
next?
the next pick, speaking of Big Ten, we finally address the wide receiver position at pick 191. We take Jalen Naylor out of Michigan State.
Naylor, Ted. Here it comes.
So the bartender says rectum. I damn near nailed her.
And
Sorry.
I
We had to lead in with that. We had to.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tracy nailed her on this pick, but
Oh!
Oh.
I like Jalen Naylor. I watched him play a lot of games in the Big Ten, and that guy, I think he finished his college career with a 20-point receiving average, 19 or 20 yards per catch.
he played 28 games, had 86 receptions for 1,454 yards and 12 touchdowns.
That's got deep threat written all over it.
That's impressive no matter how you look at it. When a guy gets the ball in his hands to make production out of it, and he's a jet sweep, bubble screen, fly sweep type of guy. You can line him up another gadget guy.
Yep.
But remember that game he had last year at Rutgers, Ted? Naylor at Rutgers. I know it's Rutgers. You know,
I missed that game. Sorry, I didn't tune in.
Get this: 5 catches, 221 yards, and 3 touchdowns for a 44.2 yard catch average. 221 yards on 5 catches. That's
not bad.
I don't care who you're playing. That's production in the open field. And his open field running, Ted Bertrand said you're going to like it when he gets the ball in his hands. He's got some limitations, but I like this pick a lot, for especially where we got him.
Yeah, and I did see today too that apparently when this came up, McCardell was actually banging the table, said, "I want this kid, go get him," kind of thing. So,
I didn't know that.
The one thing I remember about Jalen Naylor, and I remember seeing a couple games. I think this is something you can say about all these guys, 5th round down, whatever, is consistency. I mean, if these guys can figure out how to do it on 3 out of 4 plays or 4 out of 5 plays instead of 1 out of 5, that's going to be the difference between them making the team and selling insurance or whatever it is they're going to be doing.
What it's all about. What's all about.
I mean, the kid has potential. I mean, he's made some big plays, and when you watch his highlight stuff, you're like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
But
how did he last that long?
Yeah, but those plays are just kind of few and far between, and that, and so hopefully a guy and one of the guys I'm glad they kept on the new staff is a holdover was Keenan McCardell. I mean, the guy is just a really impressive dude all the way around. And if there's anybody I think that can take the potential that Jalen Naylor has, and I believe he has a lot, and make him into a bona fide, number 2 or number 3 wide receiver, I'm all for it. I'm here for it.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead, Brunswick.
I absolutely love what McCardell has brought to the table at that wide receiver coach spot. Excellent. I liked McCardell as a receiver when he was in the league. So, I mean, he's a smart guy. Absolutely. I look forward to seeing this receiver group evolve even more going forward as well, especially with guys like Smith Marset from last year. What kind of impact is he going to have this coming year too?
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Anyways,
I would only add with Naylor is some of these late round wide receivers. You also got to look at the quarterback who's throwing it to him. Who the hell was the quarterback? Rocky Lombardi? They didn't have a quarterback at Michigan State, so that's got to play into it.
Absolutely.
You had a scrub quarterback, and you're keeping a 20-yard per catch average. You had a scrub quarterback. That's got to factor into being a playmaker in my book.
Which is probably why no Michigan wide receivers were drafted.
Rhino! No, cut him, Rhino! Cut his mic!
Sorry.
Dude,
Ole Miss. There was a North Dakota State wide receiver taken before a Michigan wide receiver.
Dude, so. Ole Miss had more players drafted than Michigan or Ohio State. What the hell is going on?
Really?
I saw that. I don't believe it. Somebody said that on Facebook, but I know everything on Facebook's supposed to be
it's on the interwebs. It must be true. So
Michigan, I don't think they did have a wide receiver taken.
No.
Ohio State had a couple hacks taken, but Michigan didn't.
Right. All right. Anyway, we roll on to the final pick that we actually drafted. We took tight end Nick Muse out of South Carolina.
Not amused with the pick. I don't know anything about him. You guys know more about him than I do. South Carolina. I don't know anything.
Report, good hands, a good blocker. He's got kind of an underdog swagger type attitude to him. So he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, the way it sounds.
Well, I would too if I was drafted in the 7th freaking round.
Well, yeah.
Well, he doesn't have. What does he have to fight through to get the roster spot, Ted? That Davidson guy? I mean,
that's a good point.
We got Munt Cake. We've got who else do we have on there?
Munt Cake. That's great.
We got Davidson. Who else
Davidson and Munt Cake. I mean, Muse has already got stitch out his jersey. He's going to be on the squad.
Ben Ellison, I think.
Ben Ellison. We have Ben Ellison for.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. He's going to give us a Ben Ellison plug. He's North Dakota State. Here we go.
I mentioned this
I've
before.
done enough on that.
This tight end position it scares me. Honestly, at this point, you got Irv Smith Jr., who is you can't really rely on yet. You know, he's been.
Should we have went higher, Lance? Do you think we should have went higher, Lance Brunswick? On the tight
I would have
end?
liked to have seen us take a tight end with that 4th round pick.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I can't argue that.
There was some good tight ends up there at the 4th round area.
Well, we had that run that went like in the mid 4th when Baltimore took 7 of them. So,
well, they had what 22 picks in the 4th round.
I think something like that. Yeah.
No, they did. I think 4 tight ends went in the 4th round, but
Baltimore took 3 of them.
I can't argue. If you're kind of worried about tight end, you might have wanted to jump in there mid-round instead of waiting until the 7th round, unless you think Nick Muse is your guy. I mean,
if we lose Smith Jr. again, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
big trouble.
I mean,
we got Herndon.
No, we don't. Apparently, O'Connell likes Munt Cake because he brought him over here from the Rams.
He's not a receiver. Would he catch 5 passes? Rhino, come on, he's a blocker.
Something like that. I mean,
Munt Cake is not a receiver. He's a freaking blocker, dude.
Apparently, O'Connell thinks he can be a receiver, though. So I don't know. Like I said, we've talked more about him in the last 2 minutes than I've seen tape on him in his NFL career. So I don't know really anything about him.
We said that about Tyler Conklin last year too. When Irv Smith went down, we thought there was going to be a huge void.
Yeah,
tight end.
That's true, and there wasn't. So
Conklin stepped up. I've always been a big Conklin guy, but yes,
I think there's a guy there. I just. My bet right now would be Ellison, but we'll see.
Well, Ellison's another one, that was asked more to block in college than to catch because of the power run game at NDSU. But when they did throw him the ball, he's got good hands and he's a good red zone target. So there's an option there. I don't think he's ever going to be any kind of a tight end 1. He's probably more in that tight end 3 kind of range, but. When you have an all-star quarterback like Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball, anything's possible. So.
When I'm hung over at the Harrah's dessert bar, and they're running the dessert cart bar, the bunt cake is the last thing I'm taking, baby. Last. I am I'm going chocolate silk. I am not come on, Brunswick. You take the bunt cake? That's the worst thing on the dessert cart. That's the worst thing.
It's like fruitcake. Nobody eats fruitcake. Bunt cake is like
bunt cake. Nobody wants bunt.
That's when you get there about 5 minutes before they switch over to the buffet, and it's the only thing left on the food.
Nice.
All right. Anyway, we're going to move on now to the undrafted free agents. We originally signed 9, ended up with 8 because the wide receiver out of Virginia Tech, Trey Turner, who had originally agreed to come here, apparently, according to at least Chris Thomason, decided to go to Las Vegas instead because they offered him like $200,000 versus the $20,000 or whatever we were offering.
No, it was $2,500 was what I read.
25,000, not 2,500.
2,500.
No, it's 2,500. I read the same.
Was it 2,500? I didn't think they went that low on the stuff, but.
Yeah, I got more money. I've got more money in my sock right now.
So anyway, we signed 8 undrafted free agents. The first one, Mike Brown, the safety out of Miami, Ohio.
Don't know him.
Another guy and these are all coming out scouting reports. I watched a little bit on these guys this afternoon just to kind of familiarize myself, but he's another guy that's a real physical hitter. Got good hands and ball skills. He's another one of those, like we talked about earlier, that's a kind of a cornerback safety tweener type player.
Hybrid.
Needs to improve on his footwork and getting out of his breaks. So is kind of the big knock on him, the way it looked like.
What school was he?
He was from Miami of Ohio.
Okay.
Then the next guy, Thomas Hennigan, wide receiver out of Appalachian State.
Hennigan, begin again.
Now this guy in his career, 242 catches for 3,124 yards, 23 touchdowns, an FBS record 65 starts. On top of that, he's got had just shy of 1,000 return yards. He can return kicks and punts. Interesting tidbit of the 242 catches he had in his career, 149 of them went for first downs.
Wow.
Really?
Damn, that's everything you just read. I'm wondering why that guy didn't get drafted.
Yeah, I mean, the stats are kind of impressive on that kid. I watched a couple of App State games. I don't remember him ever really standing out, but Nick Howard, yeah, we did sign a center. I'm going to hit him here in about a minute. So this next kid, I watched probably about 10 minutes of tape on him today. Bryant Kobach, the running back out of Toledo. I think this kid has potential to maybe stick. 6 foot, 210 pounds, ran for 4,026 yards at a 5.9 average with 45 touchdowns in his collegiate career.
Wow.
Added another 654 yards receiving on a 9.9 average and 7 more touchdowns.
Damn, he's no Rock Thomas then. That's for sure.
No, and then talking about combine numbers and measurables, he wasn't invited to the combine, but his relative athletic score was 9.71, which was 6th best in this year's draft.
For running backs?
Yeah. And if you look at all the running backs, no, it's 6th best total.
Oh, that's pretty impressive then.
And if you look at all the running backs that have been drafted since 1987, 1,624 of them, he ranks 47th.
Jeez. Right. You know what, Ted? Rhino has too much information to be on Vikings Report. That's too much, man. That's too much preparation. I mean, I got to tell you.
One thing I saw a few other tweets about that relative athletic score, and it goes from like 0 to 10, with 10 being the best. And the Vikings, I don't know about the later picks, but the first 3 or 4 guys, they really valued that relative athletic score of like 9.5 or 9.6 or above. And so I just think this goes back to the relative athletic, overall raw athletic ability that they're looking for. I mean, I think the Vikings think with their new staff, if you give me a raw athlete, I can turn him into a football player. Based on
like a ball of clay.
On what these, on all these picks, and I think you're seeing that even more with these undrafted free agents.
Some really, really terrific info, Rhino. Thank you for that.
Yeah, a couple other at his pro day, bench press and vertical were better than any running back that went to the combine. He had 28 presses on the bench press, and his vertical was 40.5 inches. So that was, the kid's got some measurables there, and he's got. I mean, like I said, just from the little bit I've looked at him, I really like that pickup. So it'll be interesting to see how he turns out.
28 bench reps is pretty good for a running back.
Yeah. Next guy, Zach McLeod, outside linebacker, edge rusher out of Miami. 6'2", 251. Scouting report on him, real high motor guy, aggressive. But he's one of these guys that's at his best when he just kind of does and doesn't have to think about it. When he has to start thinking, it seems like he's kind of a slow processor on that stuff, and that's where he starts getting in trouble.
I struggle from
the problem all the time.
I struggle from the same thing.
None of us are playing in the NFL though. So
when you have to start thinking,
thinking's
I'm
overrated.
always thinking.
Hey, is he related to Dennis McLeod? Is he related to the Dennis Weaver McLeod guy?
Yeah, Columbo McLeod.
I don't know.
McLeod was on right. The guy with the horse, rode the horse. Yeah. McLeod.
Just one more thing.
I do remember that because my dad always watched all those lessons and stuff, so I always saw all that stuff. But then the next guy here that I think Nick Howard brought up, Josh Sokol, the center out of Sacred Heart.
Where the hell is Sacred Heart, Ted?
They're an FCS school.
Well, there's a Sacred Heart High School in East Grand Forks, Minnesota. I know we're not talking about that one. There are many Sacred Heart colleges across this great land of ours, Drew. I'm sure there's one. I'm sure there's one here in the great state of New Jersey where I'm currently residing.
There you go.
But I don't know if it's that Sacred Heart. I have no idea.
Where are you in New Jersey right now? What?
I'm in Bordentown, New Jersey.
Bordentown. Okay.
Boringtown, New Jersey. Okay.
I don't know. I had a pretty good dinner. A few good beers.
Hey, that's all I got to worry about.
What was for dinner? Steak? What'd you have for dinner?
Mushroom Swiss burger, medium rare.
That sounds. I'd murder one of those right now.
You lost me at mushrooms, but okay.
Yeah.
Some of the fries were like restaurant quality.
Stop.
Oh, nice.
Hungry.
But anyway, on Sokol, they said he's a very smart player, good run blocker, kind of maybe the mentality of a Matt Burkish type kind of guy. Talent wise, I don't think I'm ready to say he's Matt Burke quality yet, but
give me one team that Sacred Heart plays. Anybody on this panel?
They made the FCS playoffs this year.
No, give me a team they play against because I have no idea who they play.
I'm trying to remember what conference they're in.
Your Holy Lady Sisters of the Poor.
Come on, Brunswick. Don't hold on to me. Give me a team that Sacred Heart played against.
No idea. No idea.
I think they might have played one of the Missouri Valley schools in the first round of the playoffs, but
they're probably in the first 3 weeks of Ohio State schedule because that's the kind of teams they schedule to get the cupcake thing going. Schedule Sacred Heart.
They're an FCS school, and we don't schedule them because they're too much of a cupcake.
Your mom's a cupcake.
That's what she said.
Whoa! We're having a good show. We're having a good show. No, that could be a good storyline in 5 years. The guy from Sacred Heart is just mowing people over. Yeah. He's the starting center for the Vikings. I'd love that. I would love that.
Mean, what's his name that was a guard for us there for a while from Slippery Rock? I mean,
Brandon Fusco.
Fusco, yeah.
Oh, that's good knowledge, Glover. Fusco, Slippery Rock.
Yeah. All right. Then the next guy we got was Tyrese Stevenson, defensive tackle out of Tulsa.
Oh, that's right. Tyrese Stevenson, of course.
I watched some tape on this guy today.
Good, you liar. You did not.
Yeah, I did. I actually did. I actually did, Ted. I prepare for this show once in a while.
Thank God one of us does.
I mean, the guy is 6'3", 365. He's a big dude.
I watched tape. No, you didn't.
Sorry.
It's beautiful. Yeah, Rhino loves it. Rhino loves it.
He's a 4-year letter winner at Tulsa. 27 starts, had 83 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. He's a true nose tackle, run blocking type guy, but he does have a little bit of pass rush ability. Granted, Tulsa doesn't play exactly, top level talent type thing, but
you guys tell me, who's the nose tackle on the Vikings? If you're going to run the 3-4, you better damn well have a good nose tackle. You guys tell me who the nose tackle is.
Watts ain't big enough. It's Dalvin Tomlinson right now.
Ted?
The guy, the free agent they signed from Buffalo.
Harrison Phillips,
yeah.
So I just asked you guys, who's the best nose tackle on this team? And I got 3 different answers from 3 different people. So the Vikings have no idea. You better have nose tackle locked down, Rhino, or it's not going to work. Nose tackle is the key to the 3-4. It's the key to the 3-4 defense.
It absolutely is. So, I mean, like I said, and yes, Ted, I watched like 10 minutes of tape on him. So, but in that 10 minutes I watched, I mean,
you learned a lot.
He looks like he can move the pile pretty good and, gets up there and disrupts in the middle of the line, which is something that, of course, you want out of a 3-4 nose tackle. So
get him in here. Get him in here.
Yep. We'll see in a couple of weeks when the rookie mini camp goes on. But then the next guy, like I said, we had originally agreed with Virginia Tech wide receiver Trey Turner, and then he went to Las Vegas instead. So fuck you, and we'll see you later.
I mean, look, if you're looking at $2,500 versus 200,000, what do you get?
Oh yeah, I don't fault the guy for that at all. But as Drew always so eloquently says, here's your $3,500. I must turn my back on you now.
Which is $1,000 more than the Vikings were going to give it.
I don't fault the guy for that.
Yeah, $2,500. I think I tipped my mailman more for Christmas last year. $2,500.
The part that pisses me off more about this is that I actually watched 20 minutes of tape on this guy before I found out that he wasn't signing.
I'm spent, Rhino.
There are only the only people that are mad at this dude are like true, like purple Kool-Aid wearing Jim Jones Vikings fans. Oh, he didn't want to sign with the Vikings.
Right.
Like, yeah, whatever, dude.
The Bob from Bloomington types, yeah.
600,000
Jim Jones Vikings fans.
Take it and go. Enjoy Vegas.
ESAT Nation's upset as hell about it.
ESAT Nation is riled up.
Although 2,500 will go a lot farther in Minnesota than 200,000 will in Vegas. That shit's gonna
That's right. Yeah, $200,000. He's probably already lost that. So.
Lance Bruns, you got $2,500 in your pocket on a Friday night with anything to do. How long is that $25 lasting you?
I'm gonna go get me like 2,500 McDoubles from McDonald's, and then I'm gonna hustle them on the street for twice what I paid for them.
Bro, we got us a hot fresh McBrunswick here. Hot fresh McBrunswick. Step right up.
That's so true, man.
Anyway, we got two other guys that we picked up as free agents. The next guy is Mario's evil brother, Luigi Villain.
What?
Out of Wake Forest.
Luigi Villain?
Yeah. Drew, you should know this guy. He played for Michigan.
Luigi Villain played for Michigan. He didn't play much.
Yeah, because he was a grad transfer to Wake Forest, which is where he come out. But he played for Michigan before he went to Wake Forest for the grad transfer.
I don't remember him playing. I don't remember a guy named Villain playing. That's weird. What position again?
Outside linebacker.
Oh no, I don't.
6'4", 252. He played for Michigan, then grad student at Wake Forest. Last year had a team high 9 sacks and 10 tackles for loss for Wake Forest. Yeah. Interesting, he was also drafted 25th overall in the Canadian Football League by the Toronto Argonauts, but he decides to take the UDFA deal with the Vikings.
How many friggin' undrafted guys does the Vikings sign?
8.
How many do they usually sign? Is it about that much every year?
14 usually, between 11
with Rick Spielman, yeah, you'd go back and you'd half of the undrafted free agents.
Make sure you draft him in the 7th round.
Yeah.
What would your guys' ballpark guess be in the last 5 years? How many undrafted free agents made the 53-man roster? I know Holton Hill made it, right? He was undrafted.
Yep.
But out of the last 5 years, what do you think it's been 10 or 20? I mean, what would your guess be, Ted?
Ant was undrafted too.
It's probably like 5, only like 5 or 6. Like one a year?
It's a handful. Yeah, one a year maybe.
Okay.
I mean, like this past year, you had a bunch of guys made the practice squad, like Wap Fillier and some of those guys. Some of them end up getting put on or hurt and put on injured reserve for the year or whatever. But
Wap Fillier.
Yeah, I would think these guys are prime candidates for the practice squad and maybe a roster spot in a year or two. I mean, Holton Hill was kind of a exception to the rule because he was, by all accounts, a first or second round talent, but he had like that 5-cent head that just kept getting him in trouble, and that's what happened when he was in Minnesota.
Right.
Absolutely, a second rounder. That's what I had him gauged out on my board.
Yeah,
second round talent. So.
Then the last guy that we brought in as a free agent, which puts us at being Trey Turner didn't stick. Right now we have 89 players for 90 roster spots. Ryan Wright, the punter out of Tulane, we brought in as a free agent.
Oh God, at least I didn't draft one.
No, 47.5 average last year and 44.5 for his career. Now, personally, I liked what Jordan Berry brought to the team last year.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, competition's never a bad thing, but
yeah, this guy's an undrafted free agent punter, so we'll see.
Well, wasn't there like 2 punters that went in the 4th round this year?
Yeah, crazy. There's like 6 kickers taken in total.
Yeah.
Between punters and kickers, there's a lot
more. At one
more.
point in time, there were more punters and kickers taken than quarterbacks.
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. There was 6 kickers and punters combined, and only 5 quarterbacks at one point in the draft.
Yeah, by like the 5th round or whatever it was. Yeah.
Nah,
that's
you know
crazy,
what?
Man.
I don't give a shit who punts. Just don't drop the ball and punt it.
Yeah. I mean, if we'd have drafted the God punter, the guy that kicks 70-yard punts, that might have been something different. But
out of all those guys,
70-yard field goals.
I like the running back the best out of all those guys.
I do too. I think that kid out of Toledo, I think we might have found something there.
What, Ted?
If Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah had drafted a punter, people would be up in arms.
Oh, Tony Bell would be coming unglued. That's right. Yeah, you can't.
The machine would be parked outside of Egan right now, standing here like this, waiting for Kwesi at the front door.
Oh, he came on our live show and he was really angry about what was going on. But yeah, there's a lot of you figure those guys in. It's going to be a hell of a run here at training camp, right?
I would think so. All right, so that wraps up our players. We're going to go around the horn. Oh, go ahead, Drew.
Who got Bailey Zappi, that quarterback? I can't remember who got him.
Where the hell did he go? I don't remember.
62 touchdowns last year, Ted.
Wow. Yeah, Bahamas Bowl.
Bailey Zappi. I'll just kind of doesn't matter for Viking fans. I'm just kind of wondering for myself if he got drafted.
I know.
Patriots.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Patriots from like what, 5th or 6th round?
There we go. 6 Super Bowls coming up. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, Carson Strong, who everybody was pegging at one point in time to be a 2nd round pick, didn't even get drafted.
Right.
Crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
So we're going to go around the horn here. And you guys, I know we talked about this earlier and it's a stupid thing, but give me your snap reaction grade to what you think we did. Ted, we'll start with you.
I don't hate it. I mean, people can complain. I'm not going to like the Detroit trade. I'm not going to like the Detroit trade 10 years from now. But when you take everything they did all weekend in total, I don't see how you can be really upset. I'm not going to give it a grade because I just think you can't judge a draft class before they take the field. I think the Vikings did a very good job in addressing the needs on defense. They got some football players, that's good athletic football players. I think that can help out immediately, which is more than you can say from previous draft classes. And I think the Vikings defense is going to be better than it was last year, although that's not saying much because they couldn't have been much worse. So I like what they did though. I mean, people are giving Kwesi a hard time for the divisional trades. I really don't have a problem with it when you look at the grand scheme of what he did and the players he ended up getting. I mean, last thing, and I'll shut up, but everybody talks about, well, they traded down and he let Detroit get Jameson Williams, and then he let Green Bay get Christian Watson. Well, okay, he traded down, but he also got Seen and Booth, which are guys that are just as very capable of shutting down those 2 dudes that Detroit and Green Bay drafted. So let's get on the field and see what happens.
Drewster, what do you think? Your impressions?
I can't really. Because like you said, you can't really grade the whole thing for 2 or 3 years. So I'm not going to give it a grade either. But I am going to grade it in terms of the trading. That compensation from Detroit wasn't enough. You could send me a bunch of emails. You could send me the Albert Einstein freaking breakdown of the pie and all that shit. It wasn't enough. You could argue with me all day about it, and I'm telling you from a football standpoint, it wasn't enough compensation. That being said, that to aside, player-wise, I kind of look at the draft, if you got to break it down just to bare bones, if you can get 4 starters out of your draft class, then you're cooking with gas in my eyes. And right now, I think the Vikings have 3. I think Ingram, Booth, and Scene are all starters out of the gate. If you can get 3 starters right out of the gate, you're looking pretty good. And you got to come up with one more starter the rest of the way down. Asamoah, Evans, the Big O. Chandler's not going to start, but the other guys are probably not even have a chance to start. But if you can get 3 to 4 starters out of your draft class, guys, I think that's a success. So I'm not going to give it a grade because it's hard to just put one grade on it, but those are my thoughts.
Lance, what do you think?
I mean, what more can be said? You guys hit the nail on the head. Honestly, if we can come away from this draft with 3 to 4 starters and basically wait to see what we can get on the field for our final product, we're still, this a whole new defensive scheme. We got to see where these pieces are going to be put into place. Let's see if these kids can get coached up and see how they do. So I would, if I was going to give it a grade, I will give it a grade. Mine would probably be about a B minus, honestly. So at this point, anyways, which you could always change to the next couple of years. So.
Or Mel Kiper, you can change tomorrow and then change the next day and then change the next day.
Right. And then completely ignore the fact that you changed your mind 3 times in the last 2 days. But
what about you, Rhino? How do you take this whole thing?
I guess my thought on this thing, kind of a couple things, looking at kind of the philosophy and everything that's going on here. It seems to me that for the most part, on the offensive side of the ball, these guys have determined that we actually probably were pretty good on it. The problem was that we had Mike Zimmer, who gave 0 shits about the offense, and you had Clint Kubiak, who called plays out of a coloring book, who, that was basically holding the offense back. So putting an offensive-minded guy in charge of this stuff and unleashing the potential of the offense, I think it was more of we'll just kind of fill in a couple of weak spots like guard and with Ingram and that kind of stuff and a late round receiver. But the key is ever since these guys got here has been fixing this epically bad defense we've had the last 2 years. It was that way in free agency. It was that way for most of the early part of the draft anyway, with Scene, with Booth, Samoa, all these guys. And I think from everything, I hear about what Ed Donatel wants to do and the things that he's going to come up with, I think there's a lot. They obviously value position flexibility, like we talked about earlier. So I think there's a lot of potential things that they can do with the guys that they've got. O'Connell mentioned the term, the illusion of complexity when he, in his opening press conference, and I think there's going to be a lot of different stuff. We all know Zimmer was, okay, we're running the double A gap blitz defense. We're going to, we're coming at you this way. This is my defense. It's been awesome for 20 years. It's going to stay to be awesome, even though it wasn't. But I think, myself, I'm very interested and very excited to see what these guys can do with a little bit of ingenuity and innovation in this kind of stuff. And the guys that we picked, especially the top 4 guys, I think were all quality picks. Once we start getting down mid rounds and stuff there, again, some of the guys, let's be honest, most of us didn't know who half of these guys were. Undrafted free agents, same thing. But I'm excited to see what happens here. Rookie mini camps in a couple of weeks. So we'll get to see these guys out on the field wearing the little foam helmet things again. And we'll see what we got at that point, I guess.
Makes sense. Makes good sense, Rhinoceros.
So with that, that's about all we've got for this evening in our live show. We'll run through, do some parting thoughts. Ted, you got anything you want to add before we roll out of here?
No, I think you guys covered it all. Thanks for having us on. I appreciate it.
Drewster?
Thank you so much for having us on the Vikings Uncensored, man. We kind of year ago started our shows at the same time. We've kind of grown together. So it's kind of nice to all get together and talk some football. So thank you for having us. Thanks for having us on, man. It was a lot of fun too. We always have fun. If Ted and I are invited to the party,
it's always a good time that way.
If we ain't gonna laugh, we ain't going.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hey, no.
You guys are great guys to cut up with, bro.
Biggest thing, I want to thank both you guys for coming on. We've been talking about doing something like this for a long time. I'm glad you both could make it work tonight. Love you guys' insight. Love you guys' show. You guys have been a big help to us, as we're trying to build our brand along with it. Always good to, as a sounding board or, that kind of stuff. Love your knowledge on the show every week and the humor and the enjoyment you guys bring. Glad you could join us. Brunswick, what do you got? Why don't you take us out of here and close it down?
Once again, guys, thanks for coming. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to us and to Vikings Report as well. We appreciate everybody that comes and views both of our shows. And with that being said, Rhino and I will see you not this Friday, but the next Friday.
I think, Ted, we still owe them a steak dinner for beating us in the fantasy thing.
Yes, you do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You absolutely do.
I disagree.
Thanks for bringing that up, dude. We'd almost forgot about that.
Oh, what am I saying? I'm sorry. That's okay. We're glad to pay a steak dinner. For you guys, steak all the way. I don't know Brunswick, though. That guy could pile drive like 4 steaks. Look at him.
Lance is going to go to that the Hungry Heifer and go for the 96 ouncer.
Thanks so much for having us on, guys. It was great.
Thank you guys again for joining us. Like Lance said, we will not have a show this Friday, but we will be back next Friday for episode 59. You guys are having your regular show next Saturday, I assume?
No, we're on vacation.
We're doing a lot. We're doing a live show tomorrow.
Okay.
7:00 Central. And then we will be back the following Saturday on our regular schedule. But we're
Saturday after set. It's up to Toons.
Yeah.
Toons just runs the show, Lance. I mean, Rhino. Come on.
No show 6 days from now, but we're doing a live hit just to kind of recap the draft tomorrow, and then we will be back in 2 weeks with our regular show.
All right. Again, thank you guys, everybody, for watching. Make sure you subscribe to both our shows. You won't be disappointed with that. Have a good week, guys, and we'll see you later.
Later, guys.